So we've talked about Wild Mill, we talked about what you've done in Bridgend Town Council. What have you got coming up for Bridgend Town Council in the next 8 months till the election and beyond that maybe planning?
COVID has had an enormous effect.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of curtailed a lot of what we wanted to do. We haven't done Wartime Bridgend for 2 years. We tried to do a late Wartime Bridgend this year, around about this time actually, but guidance was very not
Restrictive.
sketchy. I'm not wanting to sound negative because I am a
No.
big follower of medical facts, and we have to follow the facts. Um, as you said, it's a £20,000 budget. I think it would have been folly for us to try and put something on spending £20,000 of public money and either it not happening or not doing a good thing.
Yeah.
We've got Remembrance Sunday coming up. We are renovating Tirald to make it into a fantastic community asset. Some of the plans that we've got for there are just simply amazing. And that's the key thing. It's not a town council venue. It belongs to the people. They're
Yeah.
paying for it. We paid £525,000 of their money to get it. We've got a budget of it. I think it's just under £80,000 for the renovation. That's their money. So it's driven towards having them as a fantastic community centre, not in the traditional community centre
Yeah.
words, but a community centre. Christmas will then come on. So Bridgend Town Council put up all of the lights. Oh, I've just knackered my phone then, pulling the cable. So we got the Christmas lights to put up, and then we'll have the plan. At the moment, we don't know what we can do with our. We've always had a Santa's grotto as well in collaboration with the
Yeah.
Lions, and then we put the precept together. It's all kind of boring stuff, but it's so important. Every penny has to be accounted for. The auditor checks over everything. We've just finalized our audit for last year, and we're going to try and finish off. I'd love to finish off the projects that we've planned for 5 years. That's simply not going to happen. It's a shame. We should now be on our third set of blue plaques installed. We're just at the start of the second lot, so that the second lot of blue plaques will hopefully be finalised, and we know we're marking the memory of some other fantastic people from our area uh, with the help of local historians, and then it'll just kind of will go into the new term, which I hope to be a part of. I'd love to say, yeah, I'll be a town councillor in June. That's not within my gift.
No.
I'll campaign hard enough for it to happen. Trust me. But it's yeah. I mean, there's lots of stuff on the go. The town hall is so big a project. I mean, it's huge. We've got the complication that we neighbour the Sunnyside developments, and
Yeah.
that's on hold. That's probably not going to restart now until March. So hopefully we can get our work done before then. But we share access to it.
Yeah.
It's a really complex. I can't see much past the town hall projects as far as big projects go. We'll get the nice stuff done. We'll do our town centre business awards, I'm sure, in April. And yeah, it's amazing how quickly that time's going to come around, mind.
Yes, it will go quickly, very quickly, because it was only what, about this time 5 years ago that you decided to set up Bridgend Town Alliance, which became Bridgend County.
Yeah, the Town
Bridge
Alliance
changed from
probably
Bridgend.
started quietly around March of 2017, kind of in the background.
Uh, Tick.
Change for Bridgend was launched on the 1st of November 2016.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I'm biased, but what we achieved in 6 months was just phenomenal. We 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 got three BCBC councillors elected. We got good people like yourself elected to a number of different councils. I mean, you
Yeah.
you did sit on two or three. I can't remember
I
now.
was at one point. It started off at two. St
Yeah,
Bride's Minor and Coity higher.
yeah,
Um, I was then on to Anasaldra, but personal problems and time,
yeah,
I had to drop Anasaldra and St Bride's Minor.
yeah,
And since then, I've been on Coity only. But
But people underestimate it, mind. I mean, you say you're on three councils, you were on three councils.
yeah,
That's a lot of work.
it
If
was.
you're wanting to do the job properly, and I know you did, that's a lot of work because the responsibilities put on you as a councillor are quite large.
Yeah, I think at the time I didn't really understand the amount of work it involved. I was a full time carer for my father at the time.
Yeah,
That took up a lot of my time, and I thought, well, I'll intersperse this, what I do. But it was taking up more and more of what I could do. And
mm,
I didn't want to drop on nostalgia. My father had just passed away at that point, and I couldn't put my focus
no,
into that. I was actually chair of the
yeah, you
council
were. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
at that point, and it wasn't fair on the community. It wasn't fair on me. There were
no,
other people out there who could do the job at the
yeah,
time. I dropped. I stepped down from St Bride's Minor because I couldn't do the job as well. I had. I was lucky that I had great backup and a great group of people, not just independents, but the Labour people and
yeah,
the Lib
absolutely.
Dem in Anita Davis on
Yeah,
Quality Hire that could pick up the slack that I was dropping at that point.
Anita's amazing. I
And
love Anita. She's brilliant
she she is an amazing person with the work.
person, absolutely,
Not
and a
just the
great community person as well.
yeah, not just the community council work, but her proper work and that and the things she does. And I think
Yeah,
inspiration to a lot of people, and
yes, 100%.
as she should be. And she's been
Yeah,
uh, uh, received awards for the work she does, as she should be, because
yeah,
thing. And I hope one day that I will get to speak to her on here. I talk to her a lot on community council and that.
yeah.
But I've just had Martin on, so I don't really want to go back to Coity just yet.
Well, look, what you're doing is good
Yeah,
because third tier community councils, and until Handforth Parish Council, a lot of people wouldn't even know what they were,
no,
and they can do a lot of good within communities, and it's important for community councils to engage with the public, and this
oh
is a
god, yeah.
channel that you allow them to do it. So keep going. It's I'm enjoying them.
I do think community councils, when they work, when they really work, and we've had some that don't work, and not everyone does work, and I'll say
Yeah,
that, but when they do work, they are excellent value for money. Very,
and
very good value for money.
that comes back to my initial point about what you asked about Bridgend Town Council. That's that. If we hadn't employed those 13 members of staff, we could have
Yeah,
hit the same problems. There is a great misunderstanding of what responsibilities are coming
yeah,
to community councils, and they have to prepare themselves for it because that isn't going away. And they're my personal opinion. I believe community councils need more staff. The problem with that is that it needs funding, which means precept goes
yeah.
up, which isn't popular. But that is something that does have to happen, and there are serious considerations that have to happen around that.
Well, I think it's been what the last 4 years that community councils are taking on more responsibility, not just
Yeah,
with putting up. And people say, "Oh, you put up flower pots, you put up Christmas decorations." We don't just do that. We're taking over
no,
community assets.
yeah.
In Coity Hire, we've done 4 renovations of public parks in the last 4 years.
I love what you guys are doing with parks. I think it's brilliant.
We're trying to do more. We've had complications where we've had an offer to take over Litchard Playing Field and
Yeah,
Litchard Community Centre. Okay, the offer wasn't great. We're still discussing it. We're going to look at it in more detail, as we should do, because we don't want to be lumbered with something that's going to drain resources over
absolutely. Well,
35
the deal has
years.
to be right for the residents, because it's them
Yes,
that foots the bill.
yes. And we were offered Great Western Avenue Fields in Pendraig, but we were only
Yeah,
offered 5 years on that, which we can't really do anything in 5 years, so that
no.
was a non-starter. But
See, as a
that's,
wild mill boy, that's the backfields. Don't call
yeah,
them Great Western Avenue. That's the backfields. I don't know why they're called the backfields. Anyway,
oh, the back of Wild Mill.
well, I suppose, but I won't even tell you how we got there because it wasn't on the pathway.
Guessing the railway line.
Yeah, it wasn't used then. No, don't worry about that.
Yeah, we talked about good work and the things you got. Another
Yeah,
thing that I believe it was the town council recently, the defibrillator in New Bridgefields.
yeah. I mean, that's been part of a program.
Yeah,
That I mean, that would have been 2018. The first lot went up.
yeah,
It's it's really on the agenda at the minute with all of the very high profile situations, and a lot of community clubs have lost sports people
Yeah.
through it. I mean, the Christian Eriksen one is the high profile one, and everyone was shocked by
Yeah.
that. But I think there's been 3 deaths since then in South Wales of local amateur, not local to here,
No,
but
but there was a rugby
community
player. I
sports.
think it was just
A
2 weeks
cricketer
ago.
down in Surrey, I think.
Yeah.
It's a concern, and again, that's where community councils can take the lead on something. I
Yeah.
mean, there's now this public, is it £500,000 from central government that people can apply for? That'll go in a
Yeah.
heartbeat because these things are £2,000 each. You know,
Yeah.
they're not cheap. But the town council's put quite a few up in the town centre. Newbridge Fields was a black spot kind of area that
Yeah.
wasn't in. There was one in Halo, but that's, the stats about 10% for every minute and everything else.
Yes.
Newbridge Fields is a big old place. So yeah, the town council resolved to work with the cricket club to put one up there, and it was fantastic. And let's hope it's never used. Let's hope that thing sits
Yes.
there, and it's the worst value £2,000 the council's ever spent. Let's hope it's never used, but it's there.
Yeah. I think there was one in. We put quite a few throughout Coity High over the
Yeah.
last 4 years, and I think it was the year before last. One was unfortunately actually used, but that's what they're there for. We hope they're never used, and
Yeah.
that is money we're happy to waste if they're never used. I think it's.
Yeah.
I know it's a bad way to say it, but
No. But it's probably the only thing we ever hope we waste money on.
yeah,
But
great.
that's the reality of it. And one of ours, I think the one that we put at the bottom of Wyndham Street may have been damaged by an idiot. But the majority, I think all of the other ones that we've put in are still there. But no, I think they're such an important thing. And part of what community councils can take the lead on.
Yes, very, very much.
Again, it's not our money, it's the public's money. And there are aspects as well of the guidance from One Voice Wales. And this is where you and I can get really nerdy because a lot of people won't even know what One Voice Wales is. But One Voice Wales wants Bridgetown and Coity Higher to work together.
Yeah.
So when there's one, our boundary is shared on Coity Road where the ATS is.
Yes.
Perhaps council should be working together to joint fund one. So the residents from both sides of the imaginary border are contributing towards it.
Yeah, because people don't see a border and say, "Oh, that's on Coity High side. I can't use it because I live just the opposite side."
Exactly.
Of that line.
Things like that only matter
difference
to people like you and I and people in the Boundary Commission.
Yeah.
Third-tier councils should be working together better, more effectively, more often, for the benefit of all of our residents.
Especially when they neighbour each other. Over a field, it's a different matter where if there's a big common, like we do have part way up in Coity High and between Brinkethin and St Bride's Minor Community Council. It's a massive common. There are issues that we have shared in common, like Heel Spencer, the road there, the bridge over the M4 motorway. They are shared interests and we need to work together better. But it's like ours is still part of the same street. You've got houses next to each other.
Absolutely.
That are in 2 different wards.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, a perfect example, and this might not mean anything to anybody else other than me, but Bridgetown Council, we employ a member of staff. Part of his duties is to pick up dog mess from around the Bridgetown. Now, Newcastle Hire wants to have the same person to do the same job, but Newcastle Hire, it would be unreasonable for them to employ a person to do that area.
Yeah.
So they pay us for our member of staff to go into Newcastle Hire to pick up the dog waste there. And that works on every level because it's Newcastle Hire Community Council offering a service to their residents that they couldn't do if they weren't working with us. It offers an income for Bridgetown Council which serves our residents because the person that we're employing isn't just offering a service, but is actually revenue generating, which pays for other things. And we all have to do that. And forget political divides, that they're not important. We've got to get rid of the council divides. Oh, that's in their area, they have to do that. And this comes up a lot on Bridgetown Council because, we get a lot of grant fund applications, and a lot of the visible clubs or groups are based in the Bridgetown. So just as an example, Bridgend Athletic Club, and it may not just be the athletic club, but they would apply to their local community council for a grant. Well, that's Bridgetown Council. But people travel from Broadlands and Coity and Bracknell to use the club.
Yeah.
So should residents of Bridgend Town fund that thing that's in their area for and that's a strange kind of complex opinion piece, because you'll have some councillors who believe it should, you
Yeah.
have some councillors who believe they shouldn't, and that's where councils come together to form a majority view, and that's how you move forward. But if councils can work closer together and more in link, then that becomes less of a problem, and that's something I hope. That's generational, though. That's not one term. You're not
No.
going to sort that out in a term. That's about 20 years of thinking of how this tier of government works together.
What services can we lessen the burden on each other by sharing, by
Yeah.
working together on? And the defibrillator would be the perfect start in a way to get councils working together when they're so close in communities like that.
Because here's the question. Let's use that as the example. So we've got Coity Road.
Yeah.
Let's say, for argument's sake, we wanted to put a defibrillator on the ATS building. Who should pay for that? It doesn't really matter. It should
No.
go. But but why would that be a consideration? Why are we even discussing who should pay for it? It should just be paid for, and politicians and councils should just work together for the good of the community and get it done. Now, there's an opportunity there for two councils to work together.
Yeah.
Now, in the future, because it is too difficult at the minute, because community council got their own problems. A lot of them are very high profile ones, and I'm
Yeah.
thankful that Coity and Bridgend aren't two of those, to be fair.
Mm.
But that should almost be second nature, that, as you say, where boundaries exist, that they should be working together.
Yeah.
Collaborative working.
Well, yeah. Not only that, it would reduce the cost of a lot of these services, where we can share the costs, and it reduces, so we can do more within the community with the budgets we have. They're not.
See, I've lost out here. If I was Councillor Spiller, I could do something, get some slides up to show you, and I could press something here. And
yeah, I did say last in a post last week that people need to start up in their game.
No chance with me. You're back down to base with me.
Anyway, I think that's really interesting. We've talked a lot about the community council now. We're going to move on to something else, but before we do, I'm going to promote a group that both you and I are part of. They've not paid me in any way for this promotion. I approached them yesterday, and they said we would. And it's, if I can share my screen without me. Tell me if it's up when can you see it?
Oh, you're going to embarrass me now and share your screen.
Oh, you can. Yeah. So can you see it?
I can see it. Yes,
that's
I can.
Great. Lads and Dads, it's a brilliant organisation. Both yourself and I, and a lot of people are through this. It's a men's health and well-being Facebook page and support group. As men, we are quite obstinate, and we don't really share our feelings or how we feel or what's thing. We don't. But this is a great group, because I've posted on there myself and had people messaging me, not on commenting on the post, and direct messaging me, are you all right today? Do you need to talk about anything? As men, we don't do it often, do we? We quite often shy away from our feelings when it comes to mental health, and we shouldn't. I suffer from anxiety and depression, and 1 in 4 people in the UK do, and I think that would be even more now after the pandemic. So don't think it's 1 in 4 women or children or anything like that. Men do, and unfortunately men seem to take it harder, and without the support that they need sometimes ends in the wrong situation, unfortunately we've seen recently. But this is a great, fantastic site for any men, or even young men as well, because they're not immune to the problems that the rest of us are. Join the site and get the support. But it's a private site for men only, I'm afraid. Sometimes us men need to talk to just other men and support, because we know what each other's going through. And there are amazingly other support groups out there for depression, for anything, for new mothers, for everything. And if you need help, do not be afraid to talk to somebody. Please talk to someone. We're all here for you. Unlike Ian, I can see the stop share button, and so we're back.
Well, I mean, I've been part of the group from the outset. I mean, when there was 10 members, I read. I don't post much, or I don't try and help other people. But the support in there is fantastic. And if there's
Yeah.
any blokes out there, just search on Facebook, lads and dads, and just become. You'll find new friends. You'll make friends for life in there. A friend of mine, no names, no information, but he was struggling a bit. I recommended him into the group, and he's a new man. These guys, they go walking up Penavan, they go cold water dipping down Porthcawl, they have
A football team.
barbecues, football teams. It's amazing. Rob, Alan, Dave, they're doing a fantastic job. And we both found Dave yesterday.
Yeah.
That's a little in joke that unless you're on there, you won't get. But
Just your photography, you'll know David Bailey.
yeah,
I got
the photo was fine. I'll send you another copy. It was a good. It must have compressed when I sent it.
I did. Somebody did comment. Well, it's over my computer or something. I said no.
It was pixelated. Yeah,
it's cameras. I crack them. So this new amazing technology is stopping from cracking.
But any blokes out there at all, just on Facebook, just search for lads and dads. Just sit there and don't feel obliged to post. Just read. Just feel part of a community that's doing amazing work.
Yeah, you're not alone. Nobody is alone.
Yeah.
There's always somebody around to help, not just men, women, children, anybody.